Myself, I always tell people that I'm a personal branding expert. So what I do is, in my area of expertise, is I make people famous. So if you're a businessman, I can make you a celebrity businessman. If you are a salesperson, I can make you a celebrity salesperson. And even if you're a cleaner, I can also make you a celebrity cleaner. I find that a lot of times in Malaysia especially, we need more brands to we need more people to stand out to be the face of the industry. Day in day out, we were looking at Amber Chia as a top supermodel, Winnie Lu as the top hairstylist, Chef One top chef. But I think we can afford to have more face in industry. Like I always say this, you sell eggs also, you can be a celebrity. If you sell a chair, you can be a celebrity. If you sell plastic, you can be a celebrity also. And why I'm so intrigued into personal branding is because when you brand a person, there's more emotion involved. And when there's emotion involved, it's easier for people to remember you than the company branding itself. That is why I think the whole personal branding can help any company or anybody, any entrepreneurs to move on to the next level. Personal branding to me, it caters into 5 areas. First area I already say you must be celebrity, therefore you have to look good, because first impression counts. So that impression, the visual is the most important. Then we go into the next one, which is your substance. The substance divided into hard skills and soft skills. While the hard skills, if you are good in your industry, I think you should be very well versed in whatever knowledge that's needed in the industry. But I want to touch on the soft skills, because the soft skills, right, it's too many things to learn under the soft skills. Therefore, I want to touch on communication skills, because communication skills, the ability to actually influence or inspire the people around you, will make your journey easier one. And the third part is likability. If you are a celebrity, you also need people, and you also need to be likable by everybody. Whether it's your client, your friends, your colleagues, your staff, media, or whoever it is. The more likable you are, the better your journey will be. And the fourth one is positioning. They will say, how come every one of us have 24 hours a day? But how we spend the 24 hours determines where we will achieve or where we will go. So be at the right place at the right time, meeting the right people is very important. Therefore, in terms of evenings, I always reserve it for networking event, because I find that if you're ready, you should be meeting as many people as possible, so that you can have more collaboration and more possibilities. So the last thing you want to be is, stay at home and watching drama or watching TV. And the last part, the fifth key will be on sustainability. You don't do this one day, 1 month, or 1 year. You do it every day, as long as you are still in the market. The reason why I say so is because there's something called momentum, right? After a while, you'll pick up the momentum, you'll do better and better. But the moment you decided to call a 1 year break or a few months break, you go for holiday, therefore you lose the momentum, and you kind of have to start a little bit lower and then start over again, that kind of feeling. I think especially for startup, it's better to go personal branding first, because it's easier. You can connect with people. After when you get more established, you can start branding your company branding. This is for the startup. For those who are in the market for a long time, if you feel that you're stagnant already with your company branding, maybe you want to try on personal branding, because that can actually elevate your current status to another level. Yeah. Then this is not for you, frankly speaking, because there's a lot of way to success, and my way is on personal branding. And just like what I shared, you need to visually appealing, you need to have good communication skills. If you find that you doesn't fit the first 2 key, it's very difficult. I think I've seen a lot of businessmen that do very well, but they are not likable also. So in this case itself, personal branding is not for them. So if those people who want to go into this area, they need to be likable, they need to be visually appealing, and they need to have communication skills. But I read this will be a shortcut, because people will remember you. And the more people will remember you, that's it already. So you'll be known as the thought leader in your industry. I would believe good publicity. Why? Because I think publicity comes into from the good and the bad one. Even though the bad one also can create a little bit noise for you, but I think it's better to be a little bit more conservative in this one, because usually people like to remember the bad stuff rather than the good stuff. So if you try your best to be likable and do things well, you'll always be remembered on the good things. I think your journey can go a long way. Communication skills. The communication skills come into a lot of form, because communication skills is very wide, right? So I think the part of mastering your public speaking, right, and art of small talk, where you talk to during the networking, how to connect with people, and your presentation skills, your storytelling ability, all these kind of help you to anchor or to strengthen your personal branding. Because at the end of the day, you know, like Steve Jobs or people like Winnie Lu and Machar, you know, they groom their communication skills because all the time they need to speak. So when they speak and people like it, quite easily they will be anchoring the position in the consumer mind. I think they really need to put a mirror in front of them because other than that, I always say this, come to my environment, I always give truthful feedback. If you cannot handle the truth feedback, it's very difficult to go through this journey, because sometimes you are in denial, right? And when people share something, you always have excuses. Especially like you mentioned, like people in supplement or in fitness or in health environment. I think they need to look healthy, and they need to look beautiful, and they need to look good, right? I think there's one time that insurance agent come and pitch me for a savings, or I think a life insurance, this one policy. Then I look at him and I told him, I think you need this policy more than I do, because I think I don't need it. Because when I see you, I think you need it more than me. I think this, because I'm a very visual person, right? The moment that you can't walk the talk, right? If as in you're a writer, you don't write well, or even you are selling supplement but you don't take the supplements, or you are selling the property but you don't own the property, I don't quite buy you, because this is something on the what is it, congruence part of it.
Right.
It's very difficult, this integrity part, as much as I think there is always a thin line, right? So I would do, okay, as much as long as you don't harm people, right? I think that could be quite safely to be put under that category. But I want to highlight that one part is, because integrity always go into that part of righteousness, right? Sometimes, right, people are being righteous at the wrong environment. Right? I don't know how, what is your thought on this, because I feel that certain environment, you don't have to be so righteous. But a lot of people righteous at the wrong environment, and then vice versa, the other way around. Then I think that maybe is a bit tricky. Like what I say, integrity is very thin line. For me, as long as I don't harm people, I doing things that can value add to the society, and I speak well, think well, and behave well, I think those comes under the point of integrity. It's very important, because in my class, when I always share, or in my book, I always share this, that online branding is your first round of popularity. But online branding is not everything, right? Because a lot of people are so crazy about the number of likes they have, the number of fans they have. Those are not real. But the online branding can help you to magnify your success. But it's not meant to replace your communications with the rest of people. What I always suggest is the online branding is good for you to build connection. But after that, you need to meet that person face to face, okay, and build the relationship. And then you use online to continue to connect with the other person. So you use online and offline hand in hand. You cannot just rely on online only. I see some of my friends, right, sad to say that I think they determine the popularity based on the number of likes they have in their posting, or number of comments. I always say this is, it also depends the likes is coming from who. If the like is coming from the right people, then I think I salute the other person. But if the like is coming from all walks of life, then maybe it's not, because it's so easy to just tap a like. The break device I already teach in my class. I teach is art of small talk come into 10 steps. A lot of people, they know how to open the conversation, but they don't know how to continue. Some people know to open, know how to continue, but don't know how to end. So they stuck with one person for the rest of the evening. Okay, so this is an art. So I always say this, whether you break the ice or not, I think it's quite easy. A nice smile will help. And sometimes you can read the other person's body language, whether the other person wants to know you or not. For me, another way to break the ice is actually keeping your energy level high. Right? When you keep the energy high, people will say, hey, you know what, this guy might be interesting. And another one is find similarity as soon as possible, because you like to talk to people that has common interests. So example, if you know that this person is from Penang, right? And then if you see whether you can start converse in Hokkien or not. Or maybe if you know this person is from Malacca, then you can say, hey, which school you are from, and things like that. That kind of as fast as well to have this common similarity. That is quite easy for you to build the base to start the whole conversation. So in the room of strangers, I always find that for me, I always say this. When I introduce myself, I say I'm a personal branding. I said, if you want to know what I do, I make people famous. So as long as you are a businessman, I can make you a celebrity businessman. You are a cleaner, I also can make you a celebrity cleaner. So this kind of introduction usually will make a lot of people laugh. And the moment that people laugh, their guard is down. They quite likely will be continue asking you or talking to you. How do I end it? The name card is always last to end the whole conversation. You don't give the name card in the beginning, you give the name card at the end. Before giving out the name card at the end, you need to share it, of course you need to move on to another person. So in this case itself, just give a tease or say, hey, you know what, how about next Friday? Are you free maybe to catch up for a coffee? If you're okay for a coffee, maybe let's meet up to see what kind of possible collaboration that we can actually share with each other, because today is very noisy, maybe we cannot talk too deep on this part. So let's meet up next Friday and we can see how, and here's my name card, and then it's quite nice to close the conversation. When you say let's meet up next week, the other party will get a hint that this conversation is towards the end already, and then they will move on to another one. Because you haven't built the bonding between the other person and you, so it's too early to give the name card, and the name card doesn't worth anything, doesn't mean anything. If let's say you just give in the beginning, there's some event that I go to, I see there are some people go table after table giving out name card without talking, without sharing things. Most of the time, this name card will end up in the drawer or in the dustbin. Don't do that, right? Because everyone wants to be connected first. The simple with 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes of talking, then when you give the name card, not too late. If the other person by the end of 10-15 minutes never ask name card for you or never hint that they want the name card, you can actually forget about it also, because this person may not be interested to know you further. I think in the beginning, the moment that you come to the event, you need to create a very good impression, because everyone loves energy, right? So when you come in with confidence, with a smile on your face, with that kind of energy, that exuding, the charisma that exuding in you, and you dress up well, that could easily create a very good first impression already. Everyone in the event will find that, hey, who is this guy, who is this girl, maybe I should get to know this person a little bit better. Now this, sometimes we call it the charisma or X factor. You just know it, right? Some people just have it. When they walk in, you feel like the spotlight is on them, and you feel like the wind is blowing on them also. Feedback, right? Market research is the most important, right? When you go to any event, you see whether people want to talk to you or not. If people doesn't show the interest to talk to you, you probably need to find out what is the reason. The more feedback that you get from the market, the better you're able to find out what is the right solution to overcome this problem. Right? Sometimes if you go to the event, everyone loves to talk to you, everyone wants to connect with you, all these things, then you know that you have that kind of X factor already. You know that you have done well already. Or maybe you will be surrounded by a group of people, then you know that roughly you are there. In fact, I think as much as possible, whether you're working class or you're entrepreneurs, you should have a personal branding yourself. In fact, we have a personal branding. All of us have a brand ourselves, but whether this brand, are we using it at our own advantage or not? On this case itself, you remember this because we are becoming more like commodities nowadays, right? Everywhere is people. So the faster you're able to capture the part of a brand that is so strong that people remember you, then the faster you can actually have more success in your life. Okay, this is very, very special because I kind of write this together with Datin Winnie Lu, and this book comprises all the tips that help. Because I studied Winnie Lu before, Winnie is my mentor, so I studied her. How can she become so famous? Her name is as famous as Carte d'Or, and I'm very intrigued to find out how she done it. So I studied her, write down the tips and things like that, and I craft into 5 easy steps that I make it into this book, and then I apply it on myself. And within 3 years, I achieved a lot of milestone after milestone. And after I achieved on myself, I test it on my students and my mentees, and I find that it works. So we decided to write this book so that we can actually share more on these tips to as many people as possible. And this book is very interesting also is because it is actually the first 3D book in Malaysia. Why? Because inside here there is an instruction on how you download the app. After you download the app, you can actually scan the picture in all this book, the diagram, and they will have a visual that will be pop up. Like this picture itself, if let's say you use the app to scan, me and Winnie will be pop up to welcome you to read this book and share with you why is the reason why you are reading this book. So it will be quite very, very interesting. It's not the usual books that you see on the bookshelf. You can get this book by going to www.brandyourself.asia/book, and you can purchase it from there. And after we get your order, we will send it to your house.
Right.